I don't want to photograph someone or something the way they actually look. I want to photograph things the way they make me feel. Camera was in and out of my life. At some point, I was just like really broke, and I had to sell. I had to get rid of my camera. I had to get rid of a lot of stuff just to eat. You know what I mean? Just to pay the rent.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for following the Career Thoughts Over Coffee podcast. I am interviewing Alan today. He's a photographer. He moved from New York to Japan a while ago, and he shares his experience being a photographer and how moving to Japan kind of shaped his personality, not just his career. One thing, though, in this interview is that my mic, for some reason, decided not to work. So the recording is what Zoom captured. The audio quality might not be the best. I'm already thinking of ways to fix that. If you're listening to this podcast, please consider subscribing. I would appreciate that a lot. It would help me make more episodes. I am trying to build a steady audience that is actually learning or at least benefiting from the stories that we're sharing on the podcast. I know many people have doubt about their career, and this is the reason why we're making this podcast. It shows the different paths that people take. It's never a linear way. So again, thank you very much for being part of this podcast and enjoy the episode.
Ohio.
Ohio, thank you very much for making the time, man.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Like finally, I think this is the first time we actually talk to each other, right?
Yes.
Yes. So this podcast is about career, right? And how the career paths are never linear, at least not amongst the people that I've seen, right? I've talked to. And today I want to, get your thoughts on the matter. Yeah, could you introduce yourself to people, listening or following the podcast?
Sure, yeah. My name is Alan, Alan Nelson, from New York. Been a few places. Grew up in New York, 80s, 90s, very rough city. It was the New York back then, graffiti covered subways, you're gonna get mugged at some point.
Yeah.
You hope every day you go out is not your last. Yeah, it was pretty rough. But I was young, and with youth comes ignorance. So there was a lot of times looking back as an adult, I'm like, well, shit, you could have died that day.
Looking back at those things is very, scary, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we used to do like crazy things, like walking past drug dealers, violent in the hood, just to get to a club. Go to a nightclub.
Well,
friends and I all dressed up like freaks, like club freaks, like gangsters, looking at us like, what the? He walked by like,
one of those people.
like, y'all need some crack? Nah, we good. All right. Well, got that weed. Now we're good.
Well, you stayed out of trouble, which is good, right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're here, so I guess that's always, that means you made a few good decisions.
Yeah.
Along the way, right?
But it was definitely interesting.
I mean, I've always wondered about how to grow up in New York. So I'm Yemeni, right? I'm from Yemen, third world country.
You should write it home in 1980s New York, 1990s New York.
Honestly, so this is a funny thing about hip hop and rap. And when I hear hip hop songs or rap songs, like I relate to this shit, like it's just,
right.
This is how we grew up, It's maybe not gang banging and and stuff like that, but it's
poverty.
It's not so,
or
it's not so far fetched from how I grew up,
you from Yemen, you would have walked into 1985 New York, you mean like, I'm home.
I'm home, right? There are many Yemenis also in the Bronx too, by the way, right now.
Yeah, I was
Making
working around. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, right.
Which was, there's worse places than that back then, believe it or not. But now New
I
York
don't
is
know.
different. It's completely different.
How different is New York?
It's very expensive. It's very uh, certainly not like it was back then. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
there's still crime, and of course, it's a big city in
Is it
America.
is it
People
safer?
will still get killed, but it's a million times safer.
Oh,
That's for sure.
I see.
It's gentrified top to bottom. You know,
What did you say? It's what?
gentrified.
What does that
Gentrified
mean?
means white people are everywhere.
Ah, okay, okay.
They've
But
reclaimed the city.
every place.
They
Honestly,
left in
like,
the '70s. They fled for the suburbs. They're
yeah.
2000s.
Uh, Look, I'll give you and this is a very not well informed opinion about New York, but I've always thought it's just too expensive to live in, and I
It is
don't understand.
definitely true now. It's very it's just ridiculously expensive now. I mean, one of the reasons why I left was just that it was so hard to live.
So this is a question that I have, right? So if it's way too expensive, then why are people still living there?
I mean, working class people, it's hard,
Right.
hard. I mean, luckily some apartments are still rent controlled.
Mm,
So if you've grew up in your parents' home,
mm,
and their apartment, and you still have it,
mm.
you're okay. But if like me, you moved out, you left, you know, took off,
There's
and
yeah.
my parents left. They bought a
Mm,
house in Georgia,
hmm
took off like 94, 95.
hmm
So I was like the only one up there, you know.
mm. So
So
going back is not a smart financial move.
I'd have to have a nice job set up waiting for me.
Mm, I see.
Mm.
So going back
I
to
don't want to live in Trump America anyway.
hey, man, as a Yemeni, I have a lot to say about him, but let's I don't know, like I want to focus
Let's
on
get to photography because yeah,
the
I will not.
photography, your career,
I
how
will
did
not.
you, your teaching background, you've been teaching for a while. And yeah, let's go back. You said you're from New York, and then I cut you off right there, and
Uh,
we kind of switched.
it's all good.
Can you introduce yourself? You're from New York, and then
From New York, diverse family, um, arts. My father was an artist, a photographer. Couple of relatives were jazz musicians, some singers, and then a whole bunch who were teachers,
okay.
you know, city workers, civil workers,
Mhm.
a uncle who's a bus driver, aunts working in like local civic offices, and then, like I said, lots of teachers. One day in New York, just struggling, to make ends meet, you know, doing what I was doing. And I'm sitting on a subway. I'm on the train, and there's a poster in front of me that says, "Become a teacher." And I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah.
What were you doing back then before becoming a teacher?
I was like still working for clubs, working for bars, odd jobs, from DJing to bartending to busing to everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Before I was producing events and stuff like that, and that got me pretty well known. And I ran a few clubs. I was music director of Twilo when it first opened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it got me to Japan, producing events there in Tokyo. Well, here I should say, since I'm here now.
Mm-hmm.
But I went back after a year, In New York, if you're gone for a while, they forget you fast. They forget you fast. I,
Yeah.
I, I knew that, but I was surprised at how much they forget. So I was not at the level that I was when I came back, which is cool. I wasn't. Living here in Japan the first time around really changed me. I was your
How?
typical. I was your typical New Yorker before. I talked with the accent, and yeah, and as obnoxious as sorry, fellow New Yorkers were pretty obnoxious. I was pretty obnoxious. Very American, very self-centered, and all of Japan changed all of that. I became a much better person on the inside living here that first year. Changed me completely. Um,
What
I,
experiences like that happened that, changed you that way?
just being in the culture, people, how much people like, even in Tokyo. I mean, Tokyo is a lot like New York, where, it will eat you alive and spit you out, you know, but there's a lot of Tokyo that's, very Japanese, at least back then in the 90s, you know, where the people are very Japanese, and they care and they're humble and they're hardworking. And I was very fortunate that those are the kind of people that were around me when I was living there. So it changed me. I became much more humble, um, more appreciative, more respectful, more considerate. You know, uh, I just really was in a good space. So that provided the allure for the country, why I kept coming back. And after going back to college and getting another degree, you know, I said, well, you know what? I'll go back there for like a couple of years, see more of the country, places I haven't been, take some photos, practice my Japanese, come back here, come back to the US, go to grad school.
Mhm.
Uh, Met Keiko, got married, had a kid, everything changed. Never made it back, never made it to grad school, never got my master's, you know.
Uh, but
But
that's
I,
still good, right? You,
yeah,
you,
I had my
you
degree and I had my degree, as teaching. So yeah, it was okay.
so people who meet you, I don't know, for the first time, or like people who know what you do, what
Mm-hmm.
do you think they get wrong about you?
Where they get wrong about me, that I'm
Career
well,
wise,
from the
like from
career wise. I think people think maybe that I just do one thing, that because here in Japan, everyone wears many hats,
yeah,
especially if you're a foreigner. You
yeah.
got many jobs.
You gotta hustle.
You
Honestly,
gotta you
yeah.
gotta you gotta have a hustle.
Yeah.
And coming from New York, I learned all about hustling.
Mm.
I learned how to like fight for work and look for work and everything. So those years in New York, especially the lean years, really prepared me, you know, for living here permanently. Um, Taught me how to live modestly, um, within my means, and you know, be more humble and not think that you're like too high to do any kind of work. Put other people first, put your pride aside, put your ego aside. So that was the really I realized, everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
So all those years in New York that I struggled
Mhm.
was for a reason. It's preparing me for this life later on. So goodbye designer clothes. Goodbye need to like eat out in great restaurants and be seen and me. And I'm not that kind of person anymore.
That's a quite a strong shift in personality, and I would say for the better, like definitely for the better,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
However, that don't you think that's what America's image is all about? Designer clothes, me, kind of thing.
I mean, it is to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I don't believe in like painting with a broad brush.
Yeah.
But I mean, our culture is definitely like centered around self. You got to work for yourself. You got to, you know, get on your own 2 feet. You know, when we're young, we leave home early and live alone. And, Japan is not like that at all. I mean,
Yeah.
people will live at home
That's what I was aiming for. That's what I
forever.
was saying,
You know
right?
what I
Like,
mean?
so it's a moving to Japan did bring this shift in you, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, when I was 18, I was still living at home. My mom, love you, mom. You're wonderful. My mom was like, "Why are you still here?" you know,
Yeah.
in Japan, they're like, "Don't go, don't go. You're 30 years old. They still don't want you to go." You know?
Can you explain that? I've never discussed this with an American person. Like, why? Why do you want your kids out at 18?
Independence. You raise your kids to like be independent and to like do things on their own. You know?
Yeah, but I think I read somewhere like back in the 80s or the 90s, if you're an 18-year-old kid, you could still kind of make it financially, right?
Oh yeah.
At this day and age, kicking your kids at 18 or at 20, you're basically setting them up for failure because no matter how much money they make, it's gonna be barely to make ends meet, right?
Maybe now.
Yeah, now that's what I'm saying now, like at the moment.
Well, if you're in New York, yeah, that might be tough. You're going to be supporting them, still financially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe I haven't lived in New York for about 20 years now.
Mhm.
I've been here for 18.
You're you're one of the few people that have been here longer than I did. I've been here for like 14, 13, 14 years, and I've seen Japan shift quite a lot.
Right.
So for you, it must be like you've been here even before me, so you've
Oh,
seen, you know.
man, last time I was up in Tokyo,
Mm.
back in, what was it? May.
Yeah.
I was in Shibuya. And I mean, I've been in Shibuya many, 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 many times,
Yeah.
since I first came here. But for some reason, I was just thinking about what it was like in 1997 when I first came here.
Mm.
And I remember walking down the street with my friend Jay. We were in Tokyo, and it's just like a sea of Japanese people. Sea of Japanese people. You don't see any non-Japanese people anywhere. And
Yeah.
we see like we're across the street, there's like two Europeans walking the opposite direction, you
Mm.
know, and they see us across the street and they're like, "Hello, hello, hello."
Yeah.
We're like looking at them like, in true New York fashion, like, what the F is up with them? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, hey, how you doing? Yeah, keep it moving, buddy. You know, like what the F is wrong with them?
Yeah.
We got it after a while. After a while, we got it. Like how lonely and isolated you can feel
Mm.
being a foreigner living here.
True.
First couple of weeks, it's just like, yeah, this is amazing. But then like, you feel kind of isolated. So that was one point
Yeah.
we understood about Japan after a
Mm.
little while. But the second thing was, thinking about it back then, it was really rare to see a non-Japanese person in Shibuya. Like, oh, look across the street. You see them? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
foreigners. You know what I mean? But now it's just like it's the complete opposite. It's like I was standing there back in
Mm.
May and like, Where are the Japanese people? Oh, there's the Japanese people. Oh, over there, look. I see some Japanese. You
In
know, in
especially
Shibuya,
in these
right across.
Shibuya, Shinjuku, these areas, like it's just,
Shinjuku is a little more Japanese
but
than
still
Shibuya.
a ton of foreigners
There are a lot
everywhere.
of foreigners, a lot of tourists, especially during
Yeah,
the daytime.
yeah,
But Shibuya, from start to finish, 24 hours, it's like complete opposite. It's Times Square. It's
yeah,
Times Square.
yeah.
Sorry, Japanese people, you lost it. It's not yours anymore. It's Times Square. It's like how us New Yorkers regard Times Square. It's just like it's all tourists. Don't go there. You know, that's how
Mm,
we regard Times Square. Shibuya is Times Square now, very much so.
yeah.
The price is set so. I paid 2,000 yen for like a craft beer. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
What? Why? Where? What? Where?
Miyashita,
Where?
Miyashita Park.
Yes. Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, Shibuya doesn't make sense anymore, to be honest. And I mean, and especially I think so. I don't know. I think I'm like you can see the white hair. I'm old. I'm getting older. But Shibuya, Harajuku, these kind of areas are just like I think they're just too young for me. The whole vibe. And if I'm not taking pictures, if I'm not there to take pictures, to go around and just, snap a few
right,
pictures here
right.
and there, I'm not going. Like it's just like the too crowded, too too many foreigners, too many tourists. I know I'm a foreigner in here, but this,
Right.
you know how it is.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm there. I'm like, people are like looking at me. I'm like, nah, I live here.
Yeah,
I,
we're different, kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but I definitely understand what you're saying.
For me as
Um,
a photographer, it doesn't bother me
mm,
because I'm an abstract photographer anyway.
uh,
I do a lot of motion blur, and I don't like
mm,
taking pictures of people's faces. So it doesn't matter where you're from. For me,
mhm, mm,
you're moving, you're doing something exciting. I'm gonna slow that shutter down and take my
mm,
shot, and it doesn't matter where you're from or who you are.
yeah.
So for me, that's all right. But a lot of photographers complain about it. Street photographers are like, you know,
About what exactly?
all the foreigners, like, God, I can't find it's not authentic. I want Japanese people, and I understand that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I've never really thought about it that way.
Yeah, a lot of photographers I know who do streets, they're like, I don't want to do Shibuya because there's not enough Japanese people. It's all these foreigners. You know,
Okay.
I understand. I get it, but I don't
So
care what they.
did you do photography back in New York or
A little
you?
bit, a little bit. I took
Mm,
photography classes,
mm,
but I was the one with the bad camera, the crappy camera in
mhm,
the class because we were poor growing up. But yeah, I mean, my very first real job
mm,
when I was 19, I was working for a professional photo lab. They did a lot of Condé Nast accounts. They developed film for all the big photographers, Harper's, for Vogue, printed the photos for them.
mhm.
So I was working there, a place called Ryder Dahlberg, which was on 54th Street, same building as Studio 54. And I was working there for like 3.5 years, 4 years.
Not in my head like I know what you're talking about, but honestly, I'm
And my boss
lost. Yeah.
gave me my first real camera. Abe
Oh, okay.
Dahlberg, I know you're no longer here. You fired me, but I still love you. You changed my life. He gave me a Rolleiflex,
Hmm.
like a Rolleiflex. He gave me a Raleigh. Changed my life. Changed my life.
How? How?
I mean, just to have a real SLR camera. I was running around taking photos everywhere. I got photos of Morrissey. I got photos of Lenny Kravitz, all because of the camera. They were like, get away from me. I don't want to see anyone, no photos. Oh, wow. Whoa. Yeah. Can I take a photo of you? Yeah. Okay, cool. Because of the camera. The camera got me into doing more and more photos. It really got me hooked on doing portraits. I got interested in doing street, everything from that camera. So
I through this conversation, I want to know, how do you view yourself? Do you view yourself as a teacher first or as a photographer first?
I see myself as an artist first. I mean, I went to art school.
Mm.
I've been doing some kind of art since I was 5 years old.
Mm.
My dad
Yeah.
teach me. So it's always been a part of me.
Mm.
Throughout the many phases of my life, there's always been some form of art there, whether it was illustration or design or photography, whatever. There was always something that I did. So camera was in and out of my life. At some point, I was just like really broke, and I had to sell. I had to get rid of my camera. I had to get rid of a lot of stuff just to eat. You know what I mean? Just to pay the rent. But the camera kept coming back to me in my life. I would get another camera, and it was just a question of making time to use it. After I got married. Well, the day I got married, I bought another camera. And I said, well, I'm going to use to take pictures of my family. I should have checked with my wife first, because she was like, no, I'm taking photos of me. But I did a little bit, like I said before, living here in Japan, you got to hustle, especially if you're married and you got a kid. At one point, I was doing 3 jobs, So, I left very little time for taking photos. But in 2018, I got tired of looking at my camera sitting on the shelf next to my desk. I was like, you're going to make more time to shoot. You hadn't done anything really. Used camera like 4 times in like the last year,
Yeah.
So I had 3 cameras. So I said, I'm going to make more time to do it. And so I was shooting digital, and like most guys shooting digital, it's all, especially back then, it was all about like your LUTs and this and that and getting a film look and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So you're buying all these like film packs and things like that. And it was just like really annoying. And I remember I was watching YouTube, just looking at like photographers' work and stuff and everything. And I came across some video of Quentin Tarantino arguing about how awful digital is. And he said something that like stuck with me. He was just like, guys shooting digital and running around trying to get the film look. Everybody wants the film look. He said, you want the film look, you should shoot film. And I was just like, holy shit, Quentin is right.
That kind of makes sense.
I was like, Quentin, you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tarantino. So I went out and bought a film camera. I jumped back into film for the first time in like almost 20 years, So I had to deal with that again, getting used to shooting film, and that was another mission. But yeah, I was certainly hooked back into photography at that time. Then 2020 pandemic, we all had lots of free time on our hands.
Yeah.
So I'm shooting like crazy in the house, running around outside all by myself shooting, walking up on my neighbor's like garden, like the plants, and like taking pictures of their flowers and stuff. And, just doorways and like lanterns and all this other stuff, really Japanese things, and I remember I got back into doing long exposure. So
On film,
yeah, yeah.
that's tough compared to digital.
I mean, everything about film is tough compared to digital, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I'd always been out shooting by myself. I think it was like 2021, 2022. I was out by Nagoya Station doing some long exposure, and I sensed somebody is really close to me. So I had my camera on a tripod, and I just turned and look, and there's this guy, like this close to me, and he's like, "Wow." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." What do you want? And we just started talking, and he introduced me to a whole community of photographers here in Nagoya that I never knew. Even got me reconnected with the guy who motivated me to pick up a camera once I moved here. A guy named Matthew Lott, good friend of mine. So I found myself in this whole like community all of a sudden, and that changed things. And I remember deciding 2022, I'm really gonna, this photography thing is never leaving me again. Really gonna devote myself to it. And here we are.
Honestly, photography is, first of all, like there are some people who don't view photography as a form of art, which I think is completely bullshit.
I don't know why. What's
I,
wrong with you?
yeah, they're like, you're just taking pictures. I'm like, yeah, but I I'm not taking, I'm making pictures.
Right.
It's not you're not just taking a picture as is. You're creating it. You're
Right.
setting up the shots. You put your art in it, right? You this final image that I'm showing you isn't something that you can just snap on your phone, right?
Right.
So
Well, you
this is,
could. You could.
I mean, you could, but it's, again, it's gonna be your vision that created it, right? Like
Right.
it's again, it's part of you. It's
It's
part
coming
of
from
your
inside.
creation, right? Yeah,
Right.
you're literally creating it, right?
There's
So
skill involved. Definitely there's skill involved,
yeah. So I I'm not a, I don't understand these people, to be honest. Like, I
Mm.
love photography. I've been doing it for a while now, and
Mm.
I wouldn't have it any
You're
other
quite
way.
good at it.
Um, I'm decent.
You're
I'm
quite good at it.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. Uh, but how, like, for example, like some people get into photography to become their job, right?
Right.
Um, isn't it a dangerous, like they say, be careful what you wish for. If photography is your hobby and you want to turn it into your job, then it there's the risk that it doesn't stay fun anymore, right?
I mean, there's that risk with everything. But yeah,
Right.
technically, yeah, there is.
How do you, what's your point on like
Um,
getting into photography because you want to make money with it
um,
instead of just enjoying it?
I'm gonna say in this era, good luck with that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
one, there's a lot of photographers around, and two, there's this thing called AI,
Oh yeah.
which is already to a certain extent replacing photographers. So if
Yeah.
you, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Let's be 100% real. Yeah, it is. It's taking jobs away from photographers already. you know.
Not just photographers, all creators. Like it's killing art.
Writers, yeah,
My,
songwriters, yeah,
like illustrators, editors, everything. Like I have a friend, his name is Shahid. I
I've seen
already
AI
have him.
assisted music.
Yeah.
Like,
So honestly, like nothing makes me feel guilty more than liking an AI generated song.
oh God,
I feel and some of them honestly, and I'm gonna be very honest here, like some of them are good. Some of them like you would listen to it and like, oh, this is a cool song, and then you search for it or you search for the artist and then you figure out like it's AI generated.
right,
And then there's heartbreak over there. Like I can't believe that I betrayed my my fellow humans by
right.
enjoying this kind of art. But I don't know, it is what it is though.
So me, I don't. I think I've adopted Saul Leiter's statement as my own, personal mandate. I don't see myself as a professional photographer, although yeah, occasionally I do get some paid work. Less now because I don't want any. But I don't see myself as a professional photographer. I see myself as a serious photographer. You know, so I take my work seriously. But I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it to make any money. I could use it to make some money, but I don't want to do that anymore because I want to take the type of photos that I want to take. You know, it was cool working with people and models and things like that, but that's not where my head is at mentally or creatively anymore. You know, I'm more about abstract work. I don't want to photograph someone or something the way they actually look. I want to photograph things the way they make me feel.
Nice way
So
of putting it.
that's that, and lots of models and tourists who Airbnb photos. They're not going to want that, and that's cool, you
Mhm.
know. So I'm just not doing photography for those reasons. A lot of our fellow foreign photographers. Yeah, they make good money taking photos of people come here recording their vacation photos and stuff like that. And God bless them for it. I've done a little bit of it, but I'm
That's not for you.
interested in that.
Mm.
Mm-mm, not
Um,
interested in it at all. It's got to be something that photography has to be something that I love doing every moment, and I have to do it when I feel like it. You know, if it's a job and I'm doing shooting what somebody wants me to shoot and shooting when people want me to shoot or when I'm getting money, then there's a risk that I may not love it anymore, like you were saying before.
that was exactly what I'm saying. Yes, right. So
So I rather you know do my work and yeah, I would like to sell prints. I want to do a lot of more exhibitions. So that's kind of where my head is at.
nice.
Not in the commercial space, but more fine art space.
How did you find yourself going into that direction? Like, yeah, I want to monetize my arts, but
Mm,
I want to do it my way,
mm,
not the way that everybody else is doing.
mm. Honestly, like about a year ago, I was moving, or a little more than a year ago, like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was moving. So I'm going through like I'm packing up my stuff, you know what I mean, and I'm going through like I found like my negatives. I'm going through all my old negatives and stuff, and I'm looking through them. And I'm looking at. I found an old hard drive with some of my digital files on it. So I'm looking at a lot of my old photos and stuff, and I'm going, your work has changed so much. You know, I was looking at my old work, and I'm like, I love doing this. I love using motion blur. I love doing abstract stuff. You know, still lives. I'm like looking at all my work, you know, at that time, and I was like, your work changed way, way, way too much. You know, I was like, I was happy doing this. Now, not so much, you know?
Huh?
So I decided to get back to what I was doing before. And around a little before that, I actually met Preston, uh, Tokyo Streetology,
Oh, yeah.
really good friend of mine.
He also does a lot of motion blur, right?
Right.
He's the same guy that you talk
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he came.
He does it so well though. Like I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's amazing. He is
Yeah.
amazing. A dear, dear friend. He came here and he taught me how to do panning shots about 2 years ago. And yeah, it's like I'm going to go back to doing what I love doing.
I'm doing this. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's been building, you know, since then. You know, hanging out with him, hanging out with Becky and Matt and Jeff Nagoya, photographer. You know, I'm like, I don't need to do anything unless it's something that I really feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been like what's led to the shift in my work over the last like
Hmm.
6 months to a year.
I'm also very interested on the balance. Like you said, like you for a while you didn't shoot and then you picked up your camera again.
Mm.
And then now you're doing more art stuff. Uh, how do you balance that with your, like, let's say, daytime job? Like, you still have a daytime job, right?
Right.
Like,
Teaching?
most of us still do. So, how do you balance both?
Yeah, I don't sleep a lot. I don't sleep a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. But yeah, I always make time to shoot. You know, almost always I've got a camera on me in my bag or in the car, you know. So even if it's only for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes while I'm outside, you know, I'll pop off some shots sometimes, you know. There's a lot of stuff that I shot that I haven't posted,
Hmm.
you know, on film and digital, just like random things, you know. Um, but yeah, that's how. And I have days where I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna go out and shoot. It's Sunday. Sunday's usually the day I'm out shooting, or
Same.
Saturday.
Same.
Saturday
No,
afternoon.
Saturday is famday though. Saturday I don't get to do that. It's
Yeah, I'm with them.
Sunday.
But you know, I'm like Sunday. I'm going out to shoot. You know, even if it's only for like 3 or 4 hours, I'm gonna go out and shoot. Or Saturday night, I'll do a Saturday night. You know, in the winter, like after it got dark, 7 o'clock, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., I was shooting for like 2 or 3 hours.
Did photography bring you interesting stories? Like, do you look for stories or do they just happen? Because I think, when you go out and shooting, like sometimes interesting things happen right in
Mm,
front of you, right? And
right.
that's where, right, when you come up with like
Mm.
a memorable picture, right? Did something like that ever happen to you or like something that stands
Oh yeah,
out?
yeah. There's always been like moments or something you just stumble into.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is there like a story that stands out right now? Do you have something or?
None that really particularly come to mind, other than when that guy was standing right next to me while I'm doing long exposure at
Oh
Nagoya.
yeah,
No, there's
no.
been lots of moments though. Usually when I go out and shooting, it's more about like light. I'm looking at the light. You
Mhm.
know, especially if I'm like doing abstract stuff like, how can I streak the light? What's it going to look like when I shake my camera this way or that way or something like that? If I pan, what's it going to look like?
On film, that is quite tough to do though, right? Like, 'cause I think in digital, like I I shot just a little bit of film, but I shot it enough just to understand that how more intentional you have to be with film as compared to digital.
I say you should be. Sometimes I
Right.
shoot film like I'm shooting digital. I'm just like popping off dots, you
Yeah.
know. But now these days, like right now, I've been shooting a lot of digital,
Hmm.
So I'm like I shoot both.
I see.
You know, I was definitely for a while all film, 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 film. Now I really don't care. I'm just like shooting whatever. Doesn't even matter. They're all tools. You know what I mean? I'm not loyal.
Yeah.
No more brand loyalty. No more no more loyal.
Format loyalty.
Yeah, no more loyalty to any one aesthetic, you know.
If you could go back to your 20-year-old self, what would you do different, um, life-wise speaking, like career, like photography, like what other steps would you have? Would you would you take differently, or you would just repeat the same thing?
No, I wouldn't. I would tell my old self, be more careful, be more diligent, more hardworking. Protect your cameras, keep your cameras. Don't be put in a situation where you have to sell your camera to eat because that is going to happen in 5 years. You're going to be forced to sell it, and every time you get a camera after that, you're gonna end up having to sell it to eat and pay your rent. So avoid those situations. That's what I would tell.
What could you have done different?
Just focus more on working. You know, not just being young and going out and drinking, hanging out with your friends, going to concerts, going to parties. You know, don't be late to work. Your boss is not going to like that. You're going to get fired for that, dumbass.
Yeah. I see.
Don't go to work
And
slightly hungover, you idiot, and try
yeah,
and
that's
write
a bad way. That's a bad way to do.
and write orders for professional photographers, you moron. you know, you're gonna fuck up that order and get yourself fired. You know,
I
it's
see.
Condé Nast. They need their work done. You dumbass. Don't drink the night before your job. So yeah, that's what I would tell my younger self.
So that goes to everyone, I guess. Like anyone listening to this podcast, yeah, don't drink for your job.
Young people, be smart.
Yeah. It's called Friday night for a reason, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
living in New York. You can go out every. It is a city that never sleeps. So you can go out every night in New York City. There's always something
Mhm.
to do.
And
At
I
least
think the Bronx also, like if you're talking about Bronx, like that's how many artists are in that area. There are many. I don't know if that's
uh
if that was still the case
oh
back
yeah.
then.
Yeah, definitely now.
Hmm.
Before artists were Manhattan, Lower
Manhattan.
Lower East Side, East Village.
Hmm.
That's where the artists were, and then Brooklyn, you
Hmm.
know, Williamsburg, and all along the coast of Brooklyn, and then into the Bronx.
Oh, was it Brooklyn? Maybe I meant Brooklyn.
Brooklyn for a long time. There's still a lot of
Oh,
artists
Brooklyn. Oh, I see.
in the Bronx. Yeah, there's definitely because there's warehouse space there. That
Where's Biggie from? Bronx or or Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, right? Yeah, Brooklyn. Then.
Yeah, hip hop began in the Bronx. That's where it began.
It began in the Bronx.
Yeah, and then spread throughout the city from there.
Hold on, Tupac is actually from New York, right?
I think he grew up. He was living in Harlem, I think, at some point in his life, or New Jersey. His mom moved around a lot.
Uh-huh. Right.
It might have been in Brooklyn, but his mom moved around a lot. He was born on the East Coast. I don't remember exactly where, but then they moved out west.
Yeah. Man, this must be really cool to be from New York, to be honest. And okay, then one more question.
Hmm.
Have you heard what did J Lo say about this being a New Yorker?
Who?
J Lo,
J-Lo?
Jennifer Lopez. She said, "You're not a New Yorker unless you were born here." What's your take on that?
Um, hmm, I mean, that is a very New York thing to say.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I don't think you necessarily have to be born there to be a true New Yorker. I don't think so. Just like you don't have to be born anywhere to be a true person in that society, in that culture. You're not, you don't, you're not, you get birthright citizenship when you're born in the country,
Mm,
but it doesn't apply, to being a part of a culture or
right.
community, because
Yeah.
people come into communities, they come into cultures and grow with it and, become a part of it that way. So I don't agree with her.
Mm.
I don't think so. It's kind of
Okay.
gatekeeping.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like, the only thing I thought of when she said that was like, okay, if there are kids that were not born there, but like they moved there at 5 years old or whatever, like, how you gonna call
They
these
grew up in
guys
the
not
culture, grew up in the environment,
right? Right?
community.
Like,
Yeah.
how are you not gonna call those kids, New Yorkers, right?
So
Uh,
I agree with it.
okay, okay. One more question to we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
If you could finish this sentence, I usually say in this career, no one tells you that. Please continue the
And this
finish the
career,
sentence.
no one tells you. No one tells you that you. Well, I guess no one. That's kind of an absolute thing. I say people usually don't tell you that you need to keep developing your craft and your creativity. I think a lot of it is more focused on like your technical skill,
Mhm.
you know, not your creative skill, your creative energy. I don't think people tell you as much as they should how important your creative energy is, you know, and that
That is very interesting.
you
Yes, that
need
is
to
true.
really, really work hard and put in the time and develop your creative skill. I guess more of a modern thing. People always look for the shortcuts, the easy way, the fast way. And I think, what bothers me about a lot of photographers, new photographers, there's only one thing that bothers me. They shoot digital and everything is, they let the camera do everything. They don't shoot on manual. They shoot on priority or some kind of auto mode. You know what I mean? And they don't learn about light. They don't learn about the exposure triangle. You know, I
Then
whenever
can you call them photographers if they don't know these three things, at least the exposure triangle?
I mean, it kind of for a minute I was like, they're not photographers, but I was, it's not really my place to say that. You know what I mean? But yeah, for
I
hot,
think
like,
like I'll tell you
yeah,
something. I'll tell you something. But on my point of view, and this is my opinion, no one has to, take that seriously. This is just my thoughts. There should be a bare minimum if you want to call yourself, like you said, like someone who takes photography seriously, right? Like you could be a photographer that is just doing it just to take pictures. But if you're saying that you're serious about photography,
Mm.
the bare minimum is to understand the exposure triangle. That's my hot take, I guess, on this matter.
I do firmly believe that everyone should own a film camera and know how to shoot film. You don't got to only shoot it. Yeah, I know it's expensive, but there's a lot to be learned about photography and light and, what goes on, the magic that goes on in your sensor. It's all based on that. So if you want to really understand your art, your craft, do that a little bit. I'm not saying you need to like go out and shoot every day and like, always keep your film camera. If that's not your jam, that's not your jam, you know. But we should know the basics. Or if you're not going to bother with film, shoot your digital camera on manual. Shoot an M mode, you know?
Know what's going on. Know
Right.
how these pictures are created, right?
Watch a video on the exposure triangle,
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes, you know, learn about Ansel Adams and his system, you know, find out, feed yourself, you know, do it on YouTube, take a class, whatever, you know, learn by doing, go out there and shoot a lot, you know, on manual and learn about that, you know, don't do everything on auto mode, and I think it will make it makes all of us better at what we do, you know.
Yep. Well,
So
thank you very much, Alan. This was definitely a very interesting conversation.
thank you.
And I'm looking forward to you visiting Tokyo or me going to Nagoya to kind of shoot together. I
I'm in
don't know if you,
Tokyo.
when are you
I'm in
coming to
Tokyo
Tokyo?
all the time. I'll be back there like September, October.
Let's do that. Like hopefully in September, or at least not the first week of October, because I'm gonna be crazy busy with work during
Okay.
that day. We're doing a symposium.
Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
just
you
let
and
me
me
know.
and you,
Yeah,
me, Preston, Dennis,
yep.
all the guys get together and shoot.
I have a few
Lucas.
photographers here that I would like to introduce you to also.
Okay, love it. For
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Okay. Thank you, man. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate this very much.